All right, today we're diving into a story that came out of the World Economic Forum in Davos. And according to our source material, this was less about polite discussion and more about a full-blown showdown between two completely different ideas for how our economy should work. So, what's this fight really about? Well, according to the source, it's a battle of philosophies, one that's all about global integration versus another that puts the nation first. It's a pretty fundamental disagreement, so let's get into what each side is proposing. So, picture this: the annual gathering of the world's elite in Davos, Switzerland. But this year, our source claims, was different. The point wasn't to find common ground. It was to draw a line in the sand and openly challenge the way things have been done for decades. Okay, so let's meet the players. In one corner, you have what the source calls the Davos model, with folks like Mark Carney and Ursula von der Leyen. In the other corner, you've got the American system, pushed by Donald Trump's team. According to the source, these are the two teams facing off. So let's break down that first philosophy. The source material really doesn't pull any punches here. It frames the Davos model not as a plan for growth, but as a system designed to, well, to manage economic decline in the West. So the critics cited in our source argue that this whole model is based on a few key ideas. The first is that globalization just hasn't worked out for the West. The strategy became send production overseas, find the cheapest labor you can anywhere in the world, and basically just accept that your own economy is going to shrink. And the alleged result of all this? Deindustrialization and even a shrinking population. And this quote from the source really just sums it all up. Their entire system depends on managing decline. The argument here is that the entire philosophy is pessimistic at its core. It's built on the idea of managing scarcity instead of trying to create more for everyone. Now, the source goes on to say that the people behind this model are trying to give it a bit of a makeover. You might hear it called globalism light or regionalization, and you'll probably see it tied to big ideas like the Green New Deal. But the claim is that underneath it all, the fundamental goal is still the same: managing a shrinking economy. Okay, so that's one side of the coin. Now let's look at the response. In direct opposition to that Davos model, the source lays out what it calls the American system, a philosophy that's all about national growth and productive power. So what does this actually look like? The source points to four main pillars. First up, putting your own country's workers first. Second, protecting national sovereignty, and that especially means controlling your borders. Third is a big one, bringing critical industries like medicine and computer chips back home. And finally, the fourth pillar is this idea that you don't cut your way out of debt, you grow your way out of it. And this is where Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent really cuts to the chase. He says, when a government has massive debt, it has two choices. You can cut spending, austerity, or you can fire up the economy and grow so fast that the debt becomes manageable. And he argues that voters, they really don't want that first option. What's interesting is that our source says this isn't some new idea. They trace it all the way back to Alexander Hamilton. And the key difference it highlights is the focus. This system isn't about maximizing income for global banks. It's about growing your own national industries and having a productive, thriving population. Okay, and this is where things get, well, a lot deeper. The source argues that this isn't just about spreadsheets and economic policy. The fight goes all the way down to a fundamental disagreement over what society is even for and what a human life is worth. And here's the contrast the source presents. It's pretty stark. The claim is the Davos model sees people as burdens on the planet and wants to feed financial monopolies. On the flip side, the American system apparently sees people as creators of value and wants to build a strong middle class. And the split even goes down to housing. One side supposedly prefers a future where you rent a small apartment, while the other wants you to own a home and build wealth for your family. So this isn't all just theory, right? The source points to a really specific example to back this up. A new initiative designed to stop huge Wall Street investment firms from buying up thousands of single-family homes. The idea is that families should be buying those homes, not giant corporations. And here's another statistic the source uses to drive the point home. It claims that because of tougher border policies, fentanyl deaths have dropped by about 20% over the last year. The point they're making is that this isn't just a number. It's a direct link between a policy choice and saving thousands of lives. So after all that, where does this leave us? Well, the source material basically says it all boils down to a choice, a really big one between two completely different futures, two paths the world could go down. And here it is, the final choice as our source lays it out.
On one side, you've got globalism light, a future of managed decline, regional blocks, and a green agenda. On the other side, a future of grow, baby, grow, focused on national industry, productive power, and building families.
And that leaves us with a huge question, doesn't it? Our source material has laid out a choice between a path of managed global decline and one of aggressive national growth. So the question isn't just which idea is better, it's which one of these visions is actually going to shape the world we all live in.